girl guest. I'm so excited to have her on here. She is a dear friend of mine, another esthetician in the community. I would love to welcome my friend Adrianne Couvé to the show. Hey, Adrianne, thank you so
Hello.
much for coming on. I'm so excited to dive into our topic today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here, especially to be your first guest.
Yes, I'm so excited. Now, you come with a slew of titles, and I would love to run down all of the things that you do. But Adrianne is a registered nurse. She is a licensed esthetician, a licensed nail tech, a certified permanent makeup artist, a certified makeup artist, a certified body contouring artist, and she's a skin classic trainer. I am out of breath. You have such a long list of titles. How long have you been in the aesthetics field? Teach the children.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm a few years old, so I've had a lot of time to do different things and find out exactly what my true passions are in life. But my first entrance into the beauty industry was when I was 22 years old. I became a nail tech in 1996. So that was my first official license, was into the nail tech industry. And I have to say, out of all my certifications and things that I've done, the nail tech is the hardest, and I never got good at it. Wasn't able to stick with it long enough to get good at it. I still like it, and I will do my own nails from time to time. But that is one of the hardest careers ever. Just to make somebody's nails look pretty, you would think that that'd be all you need. But that doesn't mean they're going to stay on for 2 weeks until they come back for their fill-in. So that's also very hard on the body. I got into some car accidents and got whiplash really bad. So, bending over and looking down all the time was not in my best interest doing nails. So that's why I stepped away from that. But while I was a nail tech artist, I had always, since the age of probably 3 or 4, wanted to sell Mary Kay. Like, I knew as a child I was going to sell Mary Kay. When I grew up, my mom worked at a makeup counter in the mall in one of the stores, department stores. I know that's hard to believe anymore since they've gotten rid of everything with Ulta and Sephora. Yeah, but with the department stores, she worked at a makeup counter, and I can remember one of my first childhood memories, watching her get ready for work and being so excited about all the makeup she was putting on and thinking, that's what I'm going to do when I grow up. So I knew that I was going to be in the beauty industry. That was the first thing that I ever wanted to be. And then when I became about 10 or 11, my mom's sister was a registered nurse, and she had a pretty decent lifestyle. I watched a lot of medical shows, and science has always been my thing, any type of science. So I thought, I want to learn all about the human body, and I'm going to be a nurse when I grow up. So, funny thing is, once I got to high school, when they had the vocational programs that you could choose, I went to the CNA program my junior year of high school and became a CNA and started working in a nursing home. They did have a cosmetology program, but out of all the things that I've done, like, hair is my least favorite thing, and it actually grosses me out. Like, picking up a hairball makes me want to gag. Cutting hair and touching people's hair, going home with hair splinters and all that was not what I wanted to do. I did, however, know that I wanted to be an esthetician around the same time that I decided that I wanted to be a nurse. But the thing is nobody really knew what the word esthetician meant. So I would say it and they would look at me like, what are you talking about? And there definitely weren't programs in smaller communities for aesthetics like back in the early 90s. They just didn't have that. Cosmetology programs really don't prepare you fully to be an esthetician. You would find you would have to go back and do some additional training, especially if you want to work with different equipment and modalities. It may train you for just the hands-on basic. But obviously, you can see by the list of everything that I tried, I am not a basic person. That totally didn't suit my needs, and I could not imagine a 9-month program that was mainly focused on hair that had a few weeks of skincare just to turn around and have to pay for more skincare education. When I finally decided that I wasn't going to be a nail tech, I was doing makeup artistry for bridal makeup for years off and on. I would do weddings. And do you remember, you're too young, you probably wouldn't remember, like glamour shots?
Yes,
I
was born in 93. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, the glamour shots, there was a company called Artistic Photos out of Mobile, Alabama. Around would come in with all at the location of your choosing, and that photographer would all the little thing in. I would do the makeup for the people, and I would hire in a hairstylist, and she would get all the updos.
I feel like bridal.
She would get all the updos, and I got a lot of experience with glamour makeup. Yeah, glamour makeup and makeup for weddings. So I did that also for a while until I decided to go to nursing school. And then once I got in nursing school and got out and started working, within 6 months to a year, I was already like, oh my gosh, like this is what I'm going to be doing forever. Like I'm really not going to be doing anything in the beauty industry. And that didn't sit well with me. And it's so funny because the lady that I went to her nail tech school to get licensed back in 1996, I was working in an OB, like mom baby, after they delivered. And she was up visiting somebody, and I was at the nurse's station charting. And she walked up and she just looked at me and she's like, what are you doing here?
Wow.
And I was like, I'm working. And she's like, you are not a nurse. And I was like, okay. And she's like, I'm starting an aesthetics program in 3 months. She said, I'm going to bring the paperwork into you tomorrow. Are you working? I was like, yeah. Wow. And so she said, my class is starting up in January. And this was sometime in the fall. And so she's like, you need to be in that first class. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go see if I can get the private funding for it. Yeah. So I went to my bank the next day after I picked up the paperwork, and they approved me right away for the loan to go to aesthetic school, like full out. So I thought, okay, this is meant to be. And so I kind of breezed through that since I had just gotten out of nursing school, like a lot of the medical things, because I don't think people realize aesthetics is a lot harder than what it seems like it should be. I actually, when I was taking my aesthetics boards, now mind you, this was my third set of state boards that I had taken out. I was already a licensed nail tech and a registered nurse. 20 questions into my aesthetics test, I about started crying. I was like freaking out on the inside. My state boards for aesthetic school, to me, were harder than my nursing boards.
Wow.
And I don't think that.
It's crazy that every state is different too, you know? I find that that's just it's so crazy to me. Some people have more hours, some people have less hours, some states have a master esthetician level, some states don't even have that at all. So in every state it focuses more on different questions. They change by the year. You really have to keep up with all of it. It's nuts.
Yes. Like I really honestly came out of there. My husband was looking at me like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't know if I passed or not. And of course I passed like with a 93% or something, but I did not feel good about that. And I just had no clue. As skincare providers, like you said, each state varies, but I think we probably all use the Milady's textbook. So going through the Milady's textbook, you know, I didn't know that you would be doing like physics, light physics, because of all your equipment and your different electrical currents. Then you've got nutrition, and you've got anatomy and physiology, and then you've got pathophysiology, and you've got a little bit of microbiology, because you got to understand like microbes and things so you're not passing infections. You know, when people think that estheticians just pull hairs out of cooches and rub creams on people's faces. Yeah, it is so much more than that. It is so in-depth and involved, you know, the education that we have. And I think that that's something that the community needs to value when they come to us as skin authorities. It's great to go online and to see people do product reviews and things like that. But granted, they don't have that background of all that information of how things are working. Oh, and I forgot to say the chemistry aspect. One of the largest aspects of what aesthetic school was chemistry and product ingredients and carrier molecules, the way the products were going to get into the skin and actually do their work. So,
and then on top of that, you know, all your continuing education you do post school, you know, it's not just a one and done. You go to school, learn what you need to do, take your test, and that's it. Science is ever evolving, so we got to keep up with the time. So it really is. It's wild how
right,
really in depth our industry is in aesthetics. And you have such a vast, a wide range of experience. Like you said, from nails to hair to nursing to doing all of these things. So you have such a great educational background and being in the industry for many years and coming at it from so many different points of view. Your brain just should be neutron size massive. I'm so
some days with that post-COVID brain, that short-term memory. I feel like Dory from Finding Nemo half the time. But yeah, I mean, just the amount of education that estheticians put in. And also, I find that we as estheticians tend to take more CEU hours and get more upgraded education than what I find most nail techs do. There are some hairstylists that invest in their business like that and take a lot of CEUs, but there's so many different avenues and different services that we offer, and so many areas that an esthetician can specialize in. Mm-hmm. Like you could be strictly waxing, and waxing, if you don't know what you're doing, even waxing can turn into a disaster. It's not just spread the wax with a stick and rip it off. There's so much to it. And that's the thing that brings such a value to going to an esthetician that is really concerned about how she's running her business and not necessarily always working for someone else where they feel like they're just putting in their hours and clocking out, but they want to provide like the best quality and service for you to where a person can come in and feel like, this is my person. I've definitely found them. They get me. They get my needs. They're going to take care of me. And they're not just performing a service. It takes a lot to really look at somebody and analyze them and their skin conditions and everything that they got going on as to how they're going to respond to a treatment, if they're going to have any post-treatment complications. So all that plays a lot into picking the right esthetician, and not necessarily we're in the age where social media is just putting everything up, and it makes it look like you could build your own house from scratch with no problem, because there's a video online that you can look at that's going to tell you what materials to buy and how to do it. And so it gives you kind of this false sense of, oh, I got this because I have the knowledge of how the bones of something work, but you don't really have any meat to go with that material. So things can go bad really fast. And I do find I do corrective skincare. That's my focus after I've kind of had some years to niche down with multiple clients and see what really lights me up and brings me the most joy. I focus on corrective skincare. And people have tried all kinds of nonsense and craziness by the time they finally get fed up and find me and come in. The whole social media advice, there's so many influencers out there, especially people learning to pivot from the COVID pandemic, and everybody was like, oh, hey, I can hop on the social media train and make an income as an influencer. So I found that has done a lot of damage in people's personal skincare journeys, because they feel like, oh, I'll just hop on here and I can get some advice from this person, not realizing you don't know every internal factor this person has going on. Their skin type might be totally different than yours. They may have a medical condition. You may have a medical condition or something going on that they don't have that causes them to not respond to a product the same way you would. There's so much that goes into it. And a person can end up spending a lot more money testing and trying all these different things on social media, and them not working and possibly causing another issue that they didn't even have to begin with. So then they're trying to correct two issues instead of one, when they just could have sought some professional help. I do love social media. Obviously, we're here on a podcast and we're utilizing social media now. So it has its value, but it's really important for consumers to not make specialists that take their whole lifetime in their career to study everything about a certain area. Don't think because there's so much noise out here that you can just take information from anywhere, because that can end up ruining your skin. I mean, for goodness sakes, we've all seen the people that have tried like at home chemical peels and
Yes.
woo, I don't think I would, yes, ever have the guts or the nerve to do that and, cause some permanent scarring and damage to their skin. Now, they can probably go to a professional in between some of the more invasive procedures like the microneedling, microchanneling, lasers, different things like that, get some of that damage reversed. That ended up costing them so much more than if they would have sought out proper care for their skin.
Right.
So
and
that is
having to fix all the damage that
yeah
have caused, by themselves, which is probably going to take so much longer than what it would have originally if they would have just come to a licensed professional instead of, seeing something on TikTok and being like, I would love to use this 50% salicylic acid peel on my face.
With no skin prep.
Exactly. So that's definitely, finding those, having those social media, societal constructs, TikTok influencers, YouTube people trying to make a quick buck by promoting products or whatever is definitely a huge factor in something that can truly sabotage, a client's skincare journey, especially in the very beginning. And there are, more topic, or not more topics, but more things we want to add to that as well. So not only is it just, trying to seek out a quick fix through social media or an influencer, but there's also, maybe after that they come in to see a solo esthetician, and we do their first time client consult. We make out their full treatment plan. Maybe they're trying to fix some hyperpigmentation that was caused from an at-home chemical peel, for example. We map out a full treatment plan, and then they just choose, they want to just, maybe cherry pick something from it and only come in like once every 6 months for a treatment and not, follow a treatment plan. So I know that's definitely something that both of us have had struggles with, clients that think, oh, I'll just come in and do this one treatment a year or 2 treatments a year and my skin will be back to normal, when that simply isn't the case for everybody.
I can say that definitely isn't the case for anybody that's on a corrective skincare journey. If you want, and I love spa facials, I love going and getting relaxation facials and getting that facial massage. But if you've got in mind that you have some skin problem that you really want worked on and reversed, you're looking at probably a minimum of 6 months to a year, depending on the severity, before you can even start to judge your results. So a lot of times I have clients, they come back after their first or second visit and they're like, well, I don't see anything. And it's like they just started a series of something that requires a minimum of 6. And it's like, you're 1 or 2 treatments in. There's no way you could possibly assess if this treatment is working for you or not, because you are nowhere near the assessment time. The thing is when you're doing corrective skincare with someone, they typically need to be in once a week or bi-weekly. Yes. Every 2 weeks. Now, sometimes with my laser treatments, when I'm doing laser treatments, it's every 3 to 4 weeks, to give their skin that time to turn around. But if it's someone that's an acne client that's coming in, even the laser, they can have it once a week to kill that acne bacteria. And I know for some people's budgets that doesn't work, and that's fine. You tell your esthetician up front and say, hey, I know this is what you're recommending, but my budget just doesn't afford for that. So maybe we can tweak a little bit of what we're recommending home care to stretch that out a little more. If an esthetician's putting your plan together and they're working to treat you in a certain time frame, and they think that you're going to be committed to a skincare routine a certain way, we're going to recommend your home care a little bit differently, because we're going to be more aggressive that once a week or every 2 weeks when you come in. So we got to kind of let your skin repair and rebuild in between the time that we're seeing you. But every single little thing that you do really matters. And when we put a skincare program together for you, especially when it comes down to product recommendations, I don't recommend a product unless it's serving a specific function that your skin is not capable of doing. Right. So if the routine that I send you home with gets cherry picked and it's not kept up with, that means that when you come back, sometimes I can't even perform the treatment that I was planning to perform to progress your journey faster, because your skin's not prepared, and I would end up causing some type of injury, whether it be a chemical burn or some type of sensitivity, because the skin's not prepped and ready to go. You can't just put on active ingredients that could be highly irritating to a skin that's not ready to heal from it. Right. It's a shock to the skin, and the products may be too aggressive. So that means that I have to go with a lighter treatment, and that's fine. You're still going to get to the end of your skincare journey. You've just extended it. And with that being said, I do want to say that it's a journey. There's many paths to get there. It just is how quickly you want to get there. If you want a quick journey, which everybody wants everything typically quick and easy, right, then the fastest way to get it is to really come in and say, okay, this person's put this plan together for me. I have this home care plan. I have this treatment plan. I'm going to do exactly what they say. And if they tell you there's going to be some bumps in the road with it, such as purging, once you start doing clinical treatments and getting on Skinical Clinic, everything that's trapped in your skin has to come out. So you are going to purge. And, you know, it is kind of the ugly phase before you become the beautiful swan. That's that ugly duckling phase. Mm-hmm. And it does pass quickly. You can't get where you're going unless you go through that phase. So saying, ooh, I don't like this because my skin's purging and backing off. Yeah, it's the worst thing you can do. It's like roll through it and get it out, because it takes, you know, the skin about 90 days to develop conditions that will trigger acne. I know it seems like, oh, you just ate something crazy and the next day you have a pimple. No, the underneath surface was perfectly primed for that breakout, and you just gave the final trigger to kick it over the edge. It really does take that long for the pores to fill up full of the oils getting trapped in the pores and the dead skin cells in the lining. And then, you know, you add that acne bacteria and you eat something that maybe triggers your skin, or stress out, and the cortisol levels rise in your body, and those stress hormones can decrease your immunity. And then you've got an acne breakout. So it really didn't happen overnight. It was over a period of time. So we got to get that 90 days worth of gunk that's stuck down in the deeper layers of your skin. It's got to come out. And then we start to get the good things in your skin on a consistent basis that build collagen and elastin and prevent breakouts with the skin. And the great thing about reversing some type of skincare condition is you are collagen banking at the same time. From the age of like 21 to 24, you start losing 1% of your collagen a year. And it's not so bad in your 20s. You don't notice it as bad, but when you start getting to your late 30s, 40s, you're kind of looking around like, and then by the time you hit 50, it's really telling the truth on you. So the great thing, if you want to take a good away from having a skin condition that needs to be corrected, is it gives you a hyper focus on your skincare and gives you the opportunity to prevent so many things in the future, and not just the condition you're trying to treat there, because all of the chemical peels that we use and exfoliating methods, and typically the things that we send you home with for home care to build and repair your skin, it's going to stimulate collagen and elastin. And if you're someone in your 20s, you get to get a surplus of that and bank it to where that 1% that you're losing every year, you might not notice it at all, because the skin certainly doesn't have to age quickly with the right skincare routine at home. And that's going to be 80% of what your skin looks like is what you do at home. You're only going to get 20% results of what we do. Even when I'm performing laser treatments and microcurrent treatments here in my studio, 80% of it is going to be what you do at home. I can't compete with the majority of your month and your twice a day routine because those ingredients program the skin and it tells the skin what we want it to do. The skin's not doing something. So it's like if a doctor gave you an antibiotic because you had an abscessed tooth and you took it for 2 days and you said, it feels better. So I'm done with this. Well, the infection's not gone.
Comes right
so
back.
It's going to keep getting infected. Everything builds on itself. Every treatment, every day that you use your products consistently builds on itself. And the consistency is such a big thing. And I do find that sometimes, especially in the corrective phase, somebody might not like a product. A lot of the products that are over the counter are made to smell really good. And they have a lot of silicones for slips. So you can touch your skin and you say, ooh, that feels so good. But not to say that all of that is just horrible, because you're protecting the skin from some of the outside stressors that dry and dehydrate the skin, but it's not putting active ingredients in the skin that's telling the skin what to do. And we really need that skin program to know what to do. And that's the difference between buying the professional skincare products and things that you buy in the store. There's a different price point because those products are less expensive to make, and the ingredients that they use to get it into the live layers of your skin cost a little more, and they may not be investing that in those products. So the products that you're buying from the store, they have to put that silicone in there to make it feel good to you. So you're like, this is soothing, which is great, but you probably aren't getting the same degree of treatment that you would from a professional product, because those products are invested in a little heavier with the carrier molecules, things that will make it go from the top dead layers of your skin down to the live tissue, because molecule sizes matter. You can have a product that has 50% of something in it, but if the molecules are so large that your skin can't absorb it, you're getting not the benefit that you think you're going to get from that product. So it's really important to have somebody that has knowledge of the product line that they're using and your skin type, and not just skin type, but your actual skin condition. Because Jenna and I were talking about this before we came on. A lot of us will think, well, say I have dry skin, and this person, like on social media, on TikTok or YouTube, they use this certain regimen and these, but what I was saying is, like on social media, you may see someone that has dry skin and you're like, well, I have dry skin, but you may be prone to acne breakouts, and their skincare regimen could be, you'd say, oh, this is affordable and this is great, and I could run to a drugstore and pick it up. But remember, I said that a lot of those products have the feel good, slippy, slidey silicones in them, which if you're acne prone, that's going to sit on top of your pores. And even if you haven't, if you have that type of skin, doesn't mean that's like out. So just because the both, it's going to be a great thing for you to use. Sometimes it's worth it. Even it's so important to follow a regimen that's recommended for your skin type. And also, another thing I want to say is, when you are looking at a skincare journey, it's not just about your age. You can also look at some of the relatives that you have in your family and see how they're aging. If there's somebody in your family that everybody tells you, oh, you look just like this person, or you have certain characteristics health-wise that you seem to pattern after this relative, well, look at how they're aging, because you're probably going to age that same way too. And maybe their skin is aging prematurely and you don't want that for your skin. Well, you can get ahead of that with using the proper skincare and getting the proper skincare treatments for your skin type and condition, and start collagen banking, and maybe you never have those issues. everything is so individualized with the skincare journey. And that's really the most important thing that I do want to drive home being on this podcast today, talking to you, is your journey is individualized. You are in the collective, but you are not the collective when it comes down to your skincare routine. And what worked for you in the winter may not work for you in the summer. And that's why a minimum I recommend, even if someone is a little pinched for funds and they feel like they can't afford to see an esthetician on a regular basis, get someone that you really feel like cares about you and your skin and is really trying to do what's in the best interest of your skincare journey. See them at least twice a year as the seasons change. Now, I live in the Midwest, so it's like we have 4 different seasons. I have 2 to 2.5 different skincare regimens a year. And if I don't rotate those products accordingly, then I have lots of acne or I have really dehydrated skin to where it will trigger eczema. So it's like I learned from a very early age as a teenager, I never had a pimple or acne until I was 30 years old. Never ever had a pimple, but I did struggle with eczema. Severe dry skin, bad enough to where I had to go to a dermatologist. So that made me get so interested in skincare early because I had to have the right products and ingredients on my skin. So I've always understood that about skin. And I think that there's so much more information that you can get access to today that will help you stay ahead of a lot of skin issues, and you have the potential to age differently than what prior generations were aging, because we didn't have all these treatments and this quality skincare the way we do now.
Yeah, we
so it's really
in the sun, soaking it up.
Yes, the sun is that is the biggest thing that you can do to have a good skincare journey in life. Is if you're not going to do anything else, purchase and use your sunscreen appropriately. And by appropriately, I mean applying every 2 to 3 hours when you're out and about, because it becomes less effective the longer you're wearing it. And if you're sweating or swimming and you get wet, you need to reapply that sunscreen. And sunscreens come in so many different forms, textures, consistencies. I know some of the creams can leave a white cast on ethnic skin types, and it's not real appealing to put that on. But there are some that are translucid, liquidy, that are not water-based, that go on the skin. It kind of like almost like a dry oil. So they're easier to apply every 2 to 3 hours without getting all the flaking and the cakey buildup. There's also mineral powder sunscreens that you can add, and you can also do a combination throughout the day depending on when you're applying it. Some people say to me, well, I don't go outside. Well, surprise, surprise. It's not just UVA, UVB lights that we got to worry about, but everybody's on their devices, some smartphone, tablet, or computer screen. And the blue light therapy is triggering damage to the skin, staring at the screen. And if you're somebody that's battling hyperpigmentation, that blue light will trigger hyperpigmentation almost just as much as the sun. So if you're wondering,
people don't know too.
Yeah. So sunscreen is always the biggest thing. And if you're not going to wear sunscreen, don't even bother getting on any active skincare ingredients or going to see an esthetician, because you're actually going to make the damage in your skin worse. You're going to make it 10 times worse, because we are going to exfoliate to get you rid of that damaged skin cell so you can turn around and produce new healthy skin, the skin that you want. But in doing that, we've made your skin more susceptible to burns, and the UV radiation is going to go down into the live tissue, and it's going to damage that skin before it ever even makes it out to the surface. So the sunscreen is a must for your own protection, for prevention and the prevention of injuries in the skin. And, I've had people show up sometimes that think they're going to get a chemical peel and they're a little bit sunburned. And it's like, you're already a little burnt. I can't put an acid on top of that. That's just not going to work well for you. No acid on top of that. So the minimum thing even if you don't consider yourself going on a skincare journey, you want to use the sunscreen properly because it is going to slow down the aging process. 90% of the aging done to skin comes from UV damage, sun exposure.
Yes.
And the majority of that is done before a person turns 18.
And I would love to extrapolate on this with you for just a minute too about sunscreen use and how every skin color needs SPF. You know, we didn't have as much education or knowledge a few decades ago. Like I even remember growing up, the only time that my family and I ever put on sunscreen was like if we had, you know, like a lake day, you know, or you go out to the pool. It was never, I don't even think I started wearing sunscreen as a daily use thing until I was probably in my mid 20s, you know? And by that point, I had already had so much sun damage. I'm obviously as white as my wall, so it really shows on my skin. But it's also been such a hard thing to work with my clients of color too, to kind of get them out of the, you know, the myth that darker skins don't need SPF. And I'm sure that you have tons of experience with explaining that to your clientele too, that no, yes, we all need it. You know, I'm going to burn faster in the sun than you will, but people of color still suffer from skin cancer. So everybody needs sunscreen, you know? So I don't know, I guess what is like your, if you were to have a client that is a person of color who's like, I'm good, I don't need sunscreen, I'm black. How do you let them know, hey, you're still gonna get burnt?
Well, I explained to them that a sunburn and sun damage are two separate things. Yeah, you're probably not going to burn, but you are going to get sun damage. And I don't really have as hard of a time with that in here because I am corrective skincare. So if you say that to me, that's kind of crazy talk. If you want your skin corrected, like that makes no sense because even someone that's coming in with acne, my African American clients, their acne typically hyperpigments dark. So they're like black spots or dark brown spots on their face, and they want that gone. So they know that the sun is going to darken that. And for my clients that are white, they have pie, the red spots from their acne marks. So they know that that skin is in wound healing process. So if it gets burned and sun exposure, hey, this is going to stink. And so I really don't have that issue with my darker skin tone clients because they're typically coming in here. My darker skin tone clients is typically for pigmentation. And it is not just the sunlight that directly damages them. It's like if you don't wear the sunscreen, you'll get a double whammy because more than likely just the temperature rising in your body, like being in a warmer climate, is going to cause you to hyperpigment some in addition to the UVB and UVA rays. And that's where I figured out like how much hyperpigmentation the blue screens were doing on the devices is with African American clients that were not going out in the sun, not getting any sun exposure at all, and yet the pigmentation's not moving, if not getting worse. Well, you find out there's no sunscreen and they're on their devices all day. So it does almost just as much. If you're prone to hyperpigmentation, the blue screen light will do just about as much of that hyperpigmenting as being out in the sun. It seems like it takes longer because you spend more hours a day typically on a device than you would outside. Like the sun will definitely accelerate that process. And even when people, I hear, well, I'm just getting in my car and I'm driving. In the car is where you get the most sun exposure because of the glass, and the light reflecting off the glass intensifies the sun ray damage that you get to your skin. So that is the biggest place that you want to wear your sunscreen is in the car. But yeah, I also tell them if this is happening with your skin, I'm not going to be able to do the chemical pills on you because I'm setting you up for an injury.
Right.
If the skin's not protected, You've got fresh skin that's just been chemically treated. That's setting you up for an injury. Like, it just is a no-go for me. And if somebody's not willing to commit to sun care, I I don't take them on as a client because I'm putting them at risk. That's risking my licensure performing treatments on them that can cause harm to their skin and set them up for some kind of wound. And I'm not interested in doing that. So the sunscreen is the first step where it starts. Even if if you're using sunscreen, you're going to have to wash your face with something. Just splashing it with water isn't going to take it off. But I mean, if that's the least you can do is to prevent further damage to your skin. But when you combine that with the right skincare routine and the right skin treatments in clinic, you get some phenomenal results. It's just a matter of, like you said in the beginning, the cherry picking. If you cherry pick a piece of it, then you're slowing everything down with your progress because the skin transforms faster with combination therapies. The harder you can hit it with the combination therapy, the faster you're going to get the results because we're not only treating the top surface layer of the skin, but you're doing things that's going to wake the live skin up, which is called the dermis underneath, that stimulates all your skin. We want to wake that up and get that going too. If you just get obsessed and focused with the surface level treatments, then it's going to take forever for the damaged things that are in the live tissue to work its way up through the surface. Right. You will definitely get there, but you're probably looking more close to a year or so. And it's just really that consistency and not giving up if your journey's not going the way you think it's going to go. I can assure you, and I will tell you right now, you will go through some periods where you have setbacks because everything with your skin is not due to what you put on your skin topically. It's also internal factors in your body. Your amount of sleep affects how fast your skin's going to regenerate. And like I said, those stress hormones like the cortisol, or sometimes it's dietary issues where your gut needs to be strengthened and you need some new healthy bacteria in your gut to combat some of the bad bacteria that have taken over and causing inflammation in your body. So all those factors have to be taken care of in addition to the topical treatments to get to the root of any type of corrective skincare issue like acne, hyperpigmentation, all those things. So taking care of yourself and your skin really is an all over body experience. It's not just let's get this area of the face because your skin is the largest organ in your body. And it is telling us a lot of times what's going on the inside of the body when it's not healthy. It's manifesting on the skin.
Mm-hmm. You are just so wise, such a wealth of knowledge. I could listen to you talk about skin and how to do the things we do with it just all day long. I really could. But sunscreen is just, if you do anything, if you're starting your skincare journey, at least start with the SPF, like minimally. But I always like to tell my clients too, we've hit all these things about, pretty much our 5 major things about, how to get the best skincare journey, right? And they're all so important. And I always like to tell my clients, if say they're coming in, we're doing corrective treatments. They're coming in once a week. So I see them 4 times in a month. But if they're doing their home care twice a day at home, they have 60 chances to rebuild their barrier, work on inflammation, whatever, problem that we're resolving, right? They have 60 chances to work on it, whereas we have 4. So it's really like we're just doing, I almost equate it to like when you're playing Mario Kart and you get the star and you pass somebody, like that's what we do for you in the treatment room. We really get you to those goals so much faster, but you have to do the groundwork at home. Consistency, making sure you follow the treatment plans that we provide for you as we tweak it throughout seasons changing, or if a client gets pregnant, develops an allergic reaction, that's where all of our professional credentials come in. Everything we know how to do, how to change things switch ingredients if we need to, etc. Obviously, the SPF use and staying away from the toxic social media standards, because if I am an influencer and I have somebody's view, say I get a video with 50,000 views on it and I'm reviewing a moisturizer. Okay, it may work for, a fifth of that population of people that are viewing, but everything is so individualized. So I can't just say one product is going to work for everyone or one specific skin type. It's all about meeting our clients with their individual needs and budget, and really meet them where they're at, is so important. So I just want to thank you for giving us so much education and information on how to have the best skincare journey possible and to save money in the long run. If you go straight to the source, to us, to your licensed professionals, we're not here to sell you bullshit products. We're here to help you. We work solo because we have such great connections with our clients, and we love every single one of you guys. We get so emotionally attached. It's not just like a money grab. We spend all of our time, our mental energy, everything goes into our business, into our clients. So I want to just say thank you again for all of that knowledge. And I hope to have you on as a guest in the future, maybe talk about some more fun topics. But where can the people find you online, your website, any kind of social media links to keep up with you? Tell the people where we can find you at. I'll also put it in the show notes, so you guys can find that as well and follow Adrianne and book with her if you're in Idaho.
Yes, I am in Peoria, Illinois, and we have an international airport. So if you need any advanced skin treatments because of the registered nursing, I do function as a medical spa with injectables, plasma fibroblast treatments, more invasive treatments, a laser, like I said, medical grade chemical pills, things like that. So you can fly in for a skincare appointment if you need to. Even if you're in a different country, it's an international airport. But that would be something wonderful to have somebody come in from out of country. But all of my social handles are Adrianne Couvé Esthetics, and she's going to have those linked, like she said. So you'll probably need the spelling of those because it's not phonetically like what it seems like it should be. So yes, that's my Facebook, Instagram, and looking to get a YouTube channel up and going, and my website. So that's where you can find me.
How fun. So thank you guys so much for listening to the third episode and having our first guest, Adrianne Couvé, on. I will see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye.